Hi all, welcome to Karlpopewoodcraft. I'm Karl. In today's video we're going to be building the ultimate workbench. Well, that's a load of bollocks really. It's going to be the ultimate for us, i.e. it's going to fulfill every need, hopefully, that we want it to do. That's enough for me nattering on then in the sales pitch. Let's get straight into the build. All of our workbenches are constructed in the same way. It's a really simple version of how to build a workbench, and it's super solid. You can use 2x3 timbers, massively cheaper than the 2x4s at the minute. They're really expensive. And you can get these for about £3.50 still expensive, but you know, you're going to save a few quid. We build half lap joints using 2 pieces of 2x3. We're cutting all the first pieces to length and they're at 850mm, and we're doing this because we want our table to be about 900mm high, and we've got the casters to attach on the bottom. We've got all these pieces at 850, and to make the half lap joint, all we do is place one of these on a new 2x3, mark the length of it, and then place 2 side by side onto that line, mark again, and then this is where we make the cut, and then we can make the half lap joints. So when we build the framework, the legs sit on there on a perfect half lap joint. Quickly going to show you how Jake's assembling the legs. Here he is, then he's got one of the 850 pieces, and one's already made up, the first one, so you can use that for a reference, no measuring needed. Place that one on top there, bang some glue on. Don't need loads, just blather a bit down the middle, that's it. It's going to get screwed as well. We found this method works sound, especially when you're in a rush. You just need to get a load of benches made like we do. Push them together. Drive some 60mm screws straight in. Set 2 down, 7 more to go. We're just working on the bottom part of the Outfeed and side extension table. We're using a full sheet of 18mm plywood and 2x3 timbers. It's a real basic construction then. We've got the outer frame, and then along the centre we're going to support it with these bracing pieces. Take 27. To get the correct amount of spaces in between your little mini joists, what you need to do is you need to measure the full distance from the top to the bottom, and then you calculate the amount of gaps in between your joists. So if we've got 5 joists, that's 6 gaps. So we divide that by 6. In our case, it comes up to 395, and that'll be the centre mark for each of the joists. That's correct, isn't it, Jake? Lovely, he gets it right on the explanation. So in a minute I'll show you how the legs attach, but then we're going to go home, get the table saw, and we're going to have to figure out how that's going to situate on the workbench. That's the only complicated bit really about building these workbenches, is when it's got table saw situated in it, then you're going to have to faff around just making sure that your rack and pinion system and all that sort of stuff still operates. I know they're not very strong, but we're just using drywall screws because they're so cheap and we're on a tight budget. They're going easy enough, they're just not super hot. Just got to make sure you use glue as well, glue the joint. And what you've got to be careful of, Jake?
Splinters.
Yeah, little metal splinters. They're a bit rough, but they're dirt cheap, easy drive, going easy. All the legs there with a half laps on, I'll show you how they go on. Simple, there's your half lap joint at the bottom. Glue, screw, into position. Like so, place them all the way around. And then you do the same, the fair again, and place it on the top, and there's your bench. Super sturdy, super simple, super lovely jubbly. We brought the table saw here. The main concern about the table saw is making sure that the fence system works. So what I've done is I've put a 2x3 here, and I'm making sure I can clear it here, over here. So the first leg is going to be just behind the back of the table saw again, so we can have full motion of the fence. the framework then so far. We've got the legs on. We're just assembling the top square, which is going to place on top of these half lap joints. And then we'll put the joists across again, which will frame everything up nice and tight and pull it all square. Then we just need to figure this little bit out. We placed the top frame on top of the post then, but what we did is we glued everything and we only put one screw in each of the posts, and then that way you can still manipulate everything to make it square. We checked all the posts for square at the bottom and the top, and then we drove 5 screws in each one to finish off. As you can see, we've got all the framework done. We put a couple of centre supports in there to make it nice and rigid. It's gone off overnight, the glue, and it's solid. All I'm doing now is putting these panels on the bottom, just for the bottom shelf, and it's really simple. And we just need to notch out around these posts. Best way to measure that is we've cut this to size. Easy for the width is 4 foot, and to notch around these, use your combination square, pop it underneath until it hits the timber underneath there, lock it off, and then you've got the exact size you need to scribe around. Use that to scribe around your corners. Cut it out with jigsaw and should slot straight in. I'll do that all the way down here. This bit was meant to be easy, but because Jake measured things wrong 10 times, I've had to take back over. But I'm down here getting a bad back and bad knees while he's holding the camera. He probably won't move about, he'll just stand there so you get bored. Countersink a few screws in here. And then we've only got one little bit left to cut out, look, but because Jake did a few wrong cuts, we need another bit of plywood now. Left-handed, Jake. Impressed? If you used to go back in time to my very first video, you'd see the workshop tour, and we had this little box what the table saw was on top of. And then when we built the Outfeed and side extension table in the new workshop, we just used this to put the table saw on top of, so we didn't have to build another frame for it. And then it's come with us again for this one. So a good bit of recycling there. And all this is a plywood box. To the right height you need. And we just pocket it all down, straight onto it. Before I do what else, I'm just going to flip it over. Put the casters on before it gets too heavy. Right, casters on. It's just getting heavy now. So we've got these same casters what we had on the last one. Obviously we just took them off. These have all got locking casters. And then that'll bring it up to the height we want. I'm just going to have to put a bit more timber in here. Pocket hole screws are great for this because they've got a nice big head on. Also got a washer as well. Put one in the middle as well, just so you don't have any sagging on your bench. If you only got them in the corners, over time you might get a bit of sagging. No one likes sagginess. You sure this is lower than last time? No. It was meant to be. Bollocks. I wanted it a bit lower. Literally wanted it 2 inches lower. Right, put the top on. Let's have a look. It's too high. Jacob's made a little boo-boo in his marking out. And you, Jet? No. So we wanted it 3 centimetres lower than the old one, and it's 3 centimetres higher. So, right, off camera, we're going to adjust all these half-lap joints because we're doing it, so we might as well do it properly. There you go, quick fix, wasn't it, Jet? Yeah. circular saw to cut it all off because obviously it was glued. Then circular saw again to make more half lap joints and chisels, and then we've ended up with all this on the floor. But literally did it in about 20 minutes and it's perfect height now. After we altered the workbench, we then altered the box. Just needed to take a little bit off. And on the top here, we've left the table saw probably about a mil and a half above the workbench, which is perfect really. You don't need it perfectly flush, don't go crazy about doing that. And now we're just screwing this 18mm ply onto the top, just making sure that you miss your T-tracks coming out of your table saw, because obviously you're going to want to do your little channels down there for your sleds and what have you. What Jacob is doing now, what are you doing now, Jacob? I can't speak. Tell him really enthusiastically.
I am building the frame work for this side support piece for the table saw.
Excellent. So Jake's doing the side extension here, and we're going to do just like we did on the old one, if you've watched the old video, where we built two simple frames either side using the pocket holes, and then we're just going to attach these to each other with some cross braces, screw everything, glue everything, and then put a piece of 18mm on top, and that'll be spot on. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You defenders.
Have we not attached a hoover yet?
No. Can't find his E-defenders. He obviously hasn't put them back up there on the health and safety board. Let's help him. Are they 2 inch or 2.5? Spin it round, there's inches on the other side.
2.5.
Silly boy. What size did I say to get?
2 inch.
You should know what 2 inches looks like. Your pecker's only 2 inches. He's getting tired. When he gets tired, he can't do it. He can't do it. Once you've made these simple frames, all you need to do is screw them into the main frame. Got some 70mm screws here, these will go right through. And even though these are only pocket holed, even that with 2 screws in solid already. That's solid. And then when we get the top braces on, the top will be. All you've got to do now is treat it like it's a jigsaw and cut all your pieces out to size for your framework. Put another piece of plywood on there, cut to size, sorted. The old workbench is just getting sanded now at 80 grit, but if you can see the round over here, it works fabulous when you're using your dust extractor, and it's got a ribbed hose like this. See how it doesn't catch compared to on a corner? Works really well, so definitely worth a little bit of extra effort doing that. Just going to pop in a couple of channels now for our sleds so they can come across into the outfeed table. We've got one clamp situated here, but we ain't got anywhere to get a clamp onto here. I suppose we could put a bridge of wood across there, but one brad nail, job done. I'll probably put one here as well actually. Here keeps it nice and secure. Router set up. Just a little tip for you guys, when you're cutting the grooves for your miter gauge track, for your sleds to work in, get your blade to its highest point, and what you want to do is, you want to see how far that goes through, and you want to stop them grooves, so it's worth working this out just a little bit of extra time, because there's no point having the blade going all the way through so your sled goes past that point, because then you're just exposing too much blade. Really, it's a good safety measure to have that stop there, so the highest point of the blade is directly under this fence here. Works well for me, keeps your thumbs safe, and you've also got your block on the back there. Hopefully you can understand what I mean there. So when that's fully forward, the highest point of the blade is under the fence and under the block. So far so good then, guys. Nice rounded edge over there, everything's looking clean and sharp, especially considering the time we did it in. Nice rounded corners. The casters are functioning perfect and the table saw fence is functioning right. Sled's working good. Dust extraction is attached. We just need to get some power source onto there now, and at least it's functional. Bit of 12mm missing there from the mistakes. I think that's it for phase one, guys. That's the main workbench complete. Just got to finish off the sanding here, and then we're going to be doing a full series of upgrades, and they're going to be coming a bit sporadically, so stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed, because they will be coming over probably the next 3 months. We're going to be doing cabinets on here, there's going to be loads of attachments, vices, French cleats, dust extraction, all sorts of upgrades. So this is my version of the ultimate workbench. No such thing, it needs to be ultimate for you, obviously, and this is in our working environment. We want it to work really well and efficient for us, so this is going to be our ultimate workbench, and it's built on a tight budget, but it's still going to hit every point that it needs to. If you want to support the channel, you can do that through PayPal, Patreon and YouTube channel membership.